Good morning. Congratulations to those of you that finished the Matthew challenge. That was a pretty big project. You read through the whole book of Matthew, and I bet you have learned things that maybe you knew about. Hopefully you learned some new information about Jesus, about his life here on earth. Hopefully you learned a deeper connection with some of the stories that you already heard about. God's word is living and active. God's word reaches us differently at different phases in our lives. So I wanted to take a moment to show you what I'm doing here. I have an old calendar, very old. It's got really good thick paper, but I don't necessarily want all of this extra, especially not that, stuff on there. So I'm painting it with a gesso. If when you start Bible journaling, when you start junk journaling or art journaling, it helps to cover your surface with a gesso. You can really paint it with anything you want. The gesso kind of primes the paper, gives it a little bit of thickness, takes away some of that glossiness. Glues and tapes don't always stick well to the glossy papers. And I don't always cover it exactly, but just enough. I like the background peeking through a little bit. It helps give the finished work a little bit of texture. Now, why I'm doing this now is that this is considered Holy Week. We celebrated Palm Sunday when Jesus rode into Jerusalem. And during this week, we want to take a moment and focus on the events that happened during Jesus's last week on earth. Today, depending on which Jewish calendar you follow, today is Passover. Passover begins at sunset today. And we know that Jesus took time to spend with his disciples as his last Passover meal with him. We call this meal the Lord's Supper, and we celebrate it through communion. It's really cool, some of the stuff that Jesus did and said with his disciples. He took something that was so ordinary to them. It was special. It was holy. But they'd been doing this every year of their lives. They knew the story. They knew the script. They knew the Bible verses. And Jesus kind of turns it upside down on them. He shows them that the original Passover was meant as a symbol or a practice for his coming and his sacrifice. So I hope you get a couple extra moments this week to spend some time in God's Word. And I'll share with you some of the creative stuff I end up doing about this week. But feel free to be creative in your own way and to contemplate what it might have meant to Jesus to see Israel accepting him as their king, riding on the donkey, the animal of peace, not the conquering king with the warrior horse. I hope you have a great day, and I encourage you to think about Passover as it is written in the Torah in Exodus, as Israel escapes slavery and enters into this new freedom and new identity in God. Talk with you later. Bye.